Let's bring in Washington Times contributor Eric Schiffer and Independent Women's Forum Patrice Lee Onwuka. Patrice, how can Nancy Pelosi and Elizabeth Warren continue to say this is theft from working families?
Oh, because they like to lie and they like to denigrate anything that's actually good for American families. You know what? You can try to tell a lie and hope people believe it, but as Americans begin to feel the effects in their paychecks come February, I think they can no longer hide behind that. And what's interesting, we just saw a new Quinnipiac poll that said 66% of American voters think that the economy is doing excellently or at least good, and 73% say that their financial situation is excellent. So, you know, it's one thing to continue to perpetrate something that's untrue, but Americans are going to tune it out.
You know, the Democrats are going to go into the midterms, Eric, going after Trump, the man, and the tweets and the things he says. The Republicans are going to say it's the Trump agenda that's working. Look at the numbers. Besides the stock market up $7.6 trillion since the election, jobless benefits dropping to levels not seen in 44 years. African-American jobless rates at the lowest level since 1972. And for high school workers, the unemployment rate for Americans without a high school diploma, rather, it's down to levels not seen since 2000. What are your thoughts here?
It is an amazing time, Liz. I mean, this reminds me of the 80s and parts of the 90s. It's a phenomenal time. You know, I'm an entrepreneur, and we were looking at the tax tables. My CFO came to me and he said, you know, Eric, almost everyone that we have working, hundreds of people, are going to get more money back. So this is, I don't know what they're talking about in D.C. with Pelosi. I mean, she certainly can't count because the reality is there's money that will be going to most people in the middle class. And that's going to be just another bit of fuel for this economy. And I think it's going to lead to 4%. The tax cuts have really opened up the throttle on this engine that is continuing to power businesses, and it's very exciting. As an entrepreneur, there's never been a better time, I think, in history to be an entrepreneur, to own a business, and actually to have a career because of the wind that's at your back. It's going to get better. It's going to get better from here, a lot better.
Patrice, let's get to President Trump's alleged comments on immigration. They were leaked by people in the room. I mean, it's a lesson about having bipartisan meetings. You know, what were your thoughts when you heard what the president allegedly said?
You know, I thought it was indefensible and frankly, a sad distraction from what is really good news. Number one, you're talking about dealing with immigration, a specific piece of immigration, but largely moving into the idea of immigration reform. And it's also a distraction from just the great economic news that we have and the strong sentiment that so many Americans are feeling, you know, coming off of, you know, the tax cuts and tax reform.
Yeah.
So you know, I was disappointed, but I do hope that we still can push forward towards immigration reform. I'm an immigrant myself. I understand why it's important for us to have, you know, the rule of law, but still opportunity for people who want to come to this country.
What were your thoughts, Eric?
Well, I'm going to take the president at his word, and he says he really didn't say it, and so, you know, he may have used harsh words. Look, to the extent he said it, I'm not a fan of that, and certainly, but I don't want to believe that he did. And I think it is a giant distraction. And this is another really additional, I think, left pushing, strategy, which is to continue to do these ad homiles any way they can attack the president and move the agenda away. And frankly, I think what they need to do is just keep pushing forward, keep adding to what we're doing. We're doing great in terms of tax cuts. I think it's great that the president has done it. I'm excited about the future.
Okay, Erica, Patrice, thank you so much. We're going to have more after the break. Don't go away.